Hey guys, Ryan here from Indy Wrestling School, and we're back for Season 5, and today we're answering some of your questions. Coming up. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing below. We put out new videos every single Thursday for 3 Minute Thursday. A couple months ago, I put out a video asking you guys to send in some questions, because I usually get some questions below all the videos, but I figured it'd be easier to put them all in one place, and you guys overwhelmingly asked a ton of questions, so I'm going to get to as many as we can today. I think we'll go longer than 3 minutes, but it's the season premiere of Season 5, and I want to thank everybody out there for making the first 4 seasons such a success. Prabdeep Singh asked, how much do you pay wrestlers, and how do you know if you're being ripped off by local talent? So I'm not going to cover what I pay individual people. That's between myself and the wrestlers themselves. What I will tell you is that there's really no way to get ripped off, because you decide on the price before the wrestler gets to the building, before you book them. What I usually do is I'll ask them what they charge for a booking, and if it's out of my price range, I just say, hey, it's out of my price range, we'll keep you in mind in the future. But if it's something that I can work with, then we go from there. There's no real way for them to rip you off if you agree on the price ahead of time. And for the most part, you're not going to run into wrestlers doing that. It's generally the promoters who have the reputation of ripping off the wrestlers. So you want to make sure you don't fall into that category. How do you get the logistics of running a wrestling show, like insurance? So insurance, I think we covered in a video before, but I'll touch base on it real quick. I mean, you can really just Google event insurance, sports insurance, and there's a number of different companies. What you're basically looking for is one-day insurance for an event, and you want to have an estimated crowd size of what you think you're gonna have there, and it's not overly expensive. You're looking at $100 to $200 for the event if you're drawing 100 to 200 fans. So figure maybe $100 per 100 fans. That's pretty much a simple way to do the math. What are the legal ways to distribute flyers without being considered littering, invasion of privacy, or overall getting people to complain? I mean, that's a real simple one. We always go into businesses and ask, hey, we have a wrestling show coming up. We introduce ourselves. Are we able to hang this poster up in your place of business? We never hang posters up on a building that's closed. We never remove other promotions posters, even if the event has already passed. Would a promotion with a gimmick be better than a cookie cutter promotion? For example, Lucha Underground compared to WWE. I mean, that's really preference. I mean, but it's unfair to compare WWE to Lucha Underground, because WWE has 50, 60, 70 years of history behind it, and Lucha Underground has been around for what, maybe 5 years? So it's unfair to compare the audience size, but let's just say WWE does broad pro wrestling, and Lucha Underground maybe has a niche audience who has a bigger fan base. So it's really up to what you're going to enjoy, what you think you'll be able to get a return on your investment on, and that's what you kind of run with. Did you buy a new ring? I saw a new one in the promoter vlog video. We didn't. Actually, we got rid of our ring. At this point in my life, I'm not running shows as regularly as I used to, just with family life and work and everything else. There's just not enough time in the day to get it all done, so it really didn't make sense for me to have a ring anymore. Plus, then I had to pay somewhere to store it and everything. So we're just renting a ring. So the ring we're using now is actually a 20 by 20 size ring. It is actually bigger. It's 4 feet bigger in every direction. But that's because we're renting. I did not go out and buy another ring. Paul George IV asks, I'm a hopeful promoter. I've started documenting my process on building a ring, picking a venue, and contacting wrestlers. Would you be interested in collaborating in some way so that we can both grow our channels? Thanks, and I enjoy your videos. Well, thanks, Paul. Unfortunately, like I said, there's just not enough time in the day to get the stuff that I'm looking to get done. So collaborating with other people right now, unfortunately, it's one of those things that I have to very gently say no. As interested as I might be in different opportunities, anything I'm doing now takes away from my real life job, my wrestling company, or more importantly, my family. And it's just, those are 3 things I'm just not willing to bargain my time with right now. Carlos Lozado asks, hi, great channel and advice, by the way. My questions are, how do you fund a show, and how long in between shows do you have to plan them financially and talent-wise? And he goes on, but I'll start with the first question. How do you fund a show? You just need to have the money up front. So whether that's you're saving from your real job outside of pro wrestling, whether you're getting sponsors, whatever the case is, but I always tell everybody when they're talking about running a wrestling show, have the money up front. Also, does the revenue fund the next show as well, or does it become all profit? Well, I mean, that's entirely up to your business model. You can just roll any money you do make over to the next show, or you can just keep it and then throw more money into the next show. Either way, you're going to need money for the next show if that is your purpose, to run another show. Is it advisable to run a traditional wrestling show before doing something original, or does it matter? I mean, I don't think it really matters. It's whatever you are going to enjoy at the end of the day, whatever you think is going to be successful. Have you ever run a show in a public park? I actually have, but I don't recommend it just because I really couldn't enjoy the promotion leading up to the show, because all I was thinking about is it's going to rain. And I had no backup if it did rain. I think we did book the park for 2 days, so if it rained on the Saturday, I had the Sunday. If it rains both days, then you're really screwed. I know Nicholas Perez asks, I know this question really doesn't have to do with what you ask, but I've been wondering how people see you and you're talented enough to sign with WWE as an independent wrestler. I'm not sure what the question is there, Nicholas, but I'm definitely not talented enough to sign with WWE as an independent wrestler. I have not had a wrestling match in at least 5 years, and I don't intend on having another one, quite honestly. And really all I'm offering on this channel is an opinion. It's not you must do this. I'm just giving you advice based on the things that I've learned, what people have passed down to me, and I'm no expert. And I say that pretty much in every video. I'm just telling you what has worked for me and what could work for you. Another question coming in, how do you join your first federation as a wrestler when it doesn't have a training program on the site? Or do you just wait for them to sign you and go somewhere else? So the thing about being signed, I think that's become sort of a fad on the independents right now. Most people aren't going to be signed anywhere. And if your local promotion doesn't have a wrestling school, you need to find a wrestling school, get trained, and then hope to work for that local independent wrestling show. How do I book my first show? How do I start off the promotion? Thanks, man, says Harris. Harris, well, I mean, we put out a couple videos on how to book a show from start to finish, so I'll let you dig a little deeper and find those. They're all here on my channel. But how to start a promotion is really simple. It's money first, it's a venue second, it's talent third, and then there's all little nuances and other things that come in. There's so much than promotion and everything else. Above everything else, it starts with money. The Sadiv asked, I have no background in wrestling. I'd like to own my own promotion. Having no foot in the business, how would I get my foot in the door and get talent to appear? So the easiest way to start in pro wrestling, and I think I've discussed this in the past, is to just start. It's going out to the promotion, going to a show, and meeting the people there and talking to them and creating relationships and interacting and seeing how you can help them out. A friend is worried I'll have no talent besides young guys needing work, and under a dozen people showing up as WWE would prevent me from hosting a show. I know that part of that is crazy. I'm not sure what you mean there by no talent besides young guys. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. As far as under a dozen people showing up as WWE, I don't know what that means. Should I pay my talent before a show or after? My rule is as soon as the talent gets there, I pay them as soon as they get there, because that's the last thing they need to worry about then. So often these guys get to a show and they're wondering at the end of the night, are they actually going to get paid? I know some guys want a partial or full payment before, but I've been screwed over doing that with other stuff, sure. And there's no guarantee. I've definitely been screwed over doing that in the past. Most of the time, the guys who want down payments are people who have been on TV, but even them, I have been definitely screwed over. So it is a gamble. It's not unlike, you know, selling something online on eBay or something like that. You're always taking a risk with any kind of transaction where you're not face to face. So that is something to keep under consideration. Mark Adams asks, best way of promoting an online only promotion, kind of like Grimm's Toy Show does. I don't know what Grimm's Toy Show is, but an online only promotion is really tough. I think if you didn't have the ground roots when YouTube was still like small enough, I think it's very hard to grow that just as an online only promotion if you're not spending a ton of money on advertising with Google and everything else. So I think it's extremely tough to do. And you gotta remember, it's very real money you're putting into the show to make it free for people online. Mario Hernandez asks, how is the process of booking talent? Do you only book his flight or hotel or transportation as well? It depends entirely on the talent. If somebody's coming from far away, usually I would prefer to pick somebody up from the airport or have one of my guys pick them up from the airport, so you're not spending the extra $200-300 on a rental car, because typically you're picking them up from the airport, bringing them to the venue, bringing them to the hotel, bringing them back to the airport. And if they're only making those three trips, I typically would like to pick them up, but some talent might specify that they want a rental car to be able to navigate around the city. Ryan Haston asks, what is all required before running a wrestling show, and how do you get insurance, promoter's license, and anything else beforehand? Thanks for all the advice you shared. Thanks, Ryan, for the question. I think I covered a lot of these questions already. Promoter's license, I've never needed in the states that I've run. I would imagine you go to a local municipality and pick that up, but I don't know the process of picking that up, quite honestly, because again, the states that I run don't require it. What are the essentials to run your very first show? And somebody put a comment that it's money. Money is essential, but it's not the only thing. Good attitude, good crew, and not just the wrestlers, a good crew behind you, and good promotion. If you don't have good promotion, you're not gonna have anybody there, and the wrestlers don't do as well in the ring in front of nobody. I mean, we all love to say that we're putting 100% whether there's 10 people or there's 10,000 people, but the fact is, you see very few 5-star matches in front of 5 people. So you want as many people there as possible. Where can we watch your promotion? So this is one of those things that it seems like a natural fit for me just to plug my own wrestling promotion here, but I didn't want to do that, and it's something I've struggled with a little bit, because it's obviously it's easy promotion because we have a good fan base here, but it felt wrong to me to promote my wrestling show on a channel where we're offering advice and suggestions. So I just choose not to promote my own company on here, and I know that seems a little ridiculous, but I think it's unfair to ask you guys to support my wrestling company and this channel at the same time. It's not hard to find the name of the promotion and look it up. Even if you're just looking at the videos behind me, the name of the promotion pops up randomly. It's just not something I go out of my way to promote. I hope that makes sense. How can you be a good manager like Paul Heyman, etc.? Thank you, Ozkid Parker Harris. Being a good manager is just like being a good wrestler. It takes practice. Everybody likes to think they can just go in and deliver this 5-star promo, but the truth is, it takes time. It's not going to come natural, and you're going to need to work up to it. Can you talk more about getting venues? Asks Han Solo 229. Yeah, so getting venues is really a one-on-one interaction. I know we all want to sit on our computer and send emails and say, hey, how much do you charge? How much do you charge? We want to run a wrestling show. But the fact is, you need to go out and you need to talk to these people one-on-one, face-to-face, and meet with these people and show them that you're a real person and you're not looking to destroy their buildings, because there's so many wrestling promotions out there that do just that. Where do you get wrestlers to fight in your promotion? Well, first of all, nobody fights. And I think that's key. I know that's ridiculous to say, but it's key to have a locker room that all gets along and is all driven towards the same goal, which is putting on a great show for the fans. So nobody obviously really fights on any of our shows. But where do you find them? You got to look around. You got to go to local shows. You got to find local talent. You got to look on booking websites for pro wrestlers. And if you look up booking agents, there's a number of them out there. If you're looking to get, established, well-known people, you can also hit people up on Twitter, on Facebook, stuff like that. But make sure you're not just hitting them up and saying, hey, how much do you charge? Introduce yourself. Tell them what the event is. Give them specifics. Tell them what your budget is if you have one. And they'll tell you, I can do that price or I can't. And just don't be offended by it. So there's a number of different ways to get professional wrestlers for your show. It's just a common sense and an interaction thing. All right, we're going to do one more question here, and then we're going to have to make this a two-parter because I did not realize this was going to go this long. Life of Offentense asks, do you watch Impact Wrestling? I do not. I actually do not watch a ton of current stuff. I'm a bit ashamed to say that. Again, just the time factors of life. There's so much wrestling on TV right now, and it's such an exciting time to be a pro wrestling fan. Unfortunately, I find myself catching up on old stuff I wasn't alive for. Right now I'm cycling through Memphis wrestling from the 70s. Eventually I'll get, maybe in 30 years I'll get caught up on Impact, but it's just, I don't even know if I get that channel, quite honestly. So I hope that answers your question, but it's no disrespect to Impact, it's not something I have time to do right now. Alright, that's it for this week. We're going to be back next week for part 2, because I have a ton more questions. I did not think this was going to take this long, but you guys sent in a ton of great questions and I want to try to get to all of them. So thanks again, and we'll see you next week for 3 Minute Thursday.